Okay, Nick and Andy, let's preview and predict what's going to happen in a massive and intriguing Manchester derby this weekend as Man United host Man City at Old Trafford. And yeah, Michael Carrick, he's in charge on an interim basis for United. I don't think we would have said that a few weeks ago, but under Ruben Amorim went south very quickly, Nick. City are in the title race, obviously very different for them, but this is interesting because I feel like United can sort of play that spoiler role pretty well. No one's going to expect much from them given the situation, given how City have been clicking through the gears. But it's a tough start for Carrick to come in and get things going on a positive momentum.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't like, I have a dentist appointment. So the first game, let's sign this contract a couple days later. And we know these derbies, they're close, they're well contested. The teams, there's not a single player in this game who won't be aware of how much this matters.
Oh, of course.
All that said, you want any other game to be your first one in charge because you're at home too. You want to get Old Trafford on your side. If there is still mystique in the club, and we believe there is, this is the sort of game where you can capture that. And not to tip my hand on the prediction, I don't think they're going to capture that because De Ligt is still out, and they have just let in goal after goal after goal. And frankly, if they're going back to a back four, which hasn't worked so far, although they might say it has, you need him. So tough day for United, I think.
Yeah, and Carrick's kind of tweaked back four, back three during his time as a manager so far, Andy. I mean, did a really good job at Middlesbrough, to be fair to him. Didn't have a lot of money in the championship, got him in the playoffs, 3 top 10 finishes before leaving them. Had a lot of time as an assistant coach under Mourinho and Solskjaer at United as well. So, it's not like he's just been handed this straight away. He has got a decent amount of experience here. And I just wonder what you think about it generally. Is this a good idea? Because I think we all agree United were okay under Amorim. There were still a lot of problems, but they were kind of heading in a decent direction and looking okay for being right in the Champions League qualification scenario at the end of the season. So still hard for me to see how that unraveled so quickly with what happened upstairs at United. Obviously, that's the report.
Yeah.
But Carrick, I guess, makes sense until the summer, until they can then, have a host of options of new coaches. But there's an opportunity for him here to do something decent and really boost his own CV, if you will.
Yeah, there is, but it's just another example of Manchester United can't get out of their own way. Like you say, they're making progress under Amorim. They're, for the first time since Fergie left, you felt like, and there's still problems with the squad, and they need a lot of work in multiple transfer windows, not just one, to fix essentially the midfield, is what we've been saying for 5 years now. But they were making progress, and they were in a very good position without having European football this season. Now going out of the FA Cup, they're going to play 40 games flat this season, 38 in the league, 1 in the League Cup, 1 in the FA Cup, and that's their season. That's a real opportunity to get back into the Champions League, when I think you could look at the way the club has been run and what the squad looks like and say, probably don't deserve it. But on the merit of what they've been doing on the field and progressing the project, they were very much in line to get there. And you make this very sudden change. And I understand if you've got differences behind the scenes and everybody's clashing with their ideas, then, it's eventually it's going to unravel on the field. And so they tried to get out ahead of it and make this change here. Now it's a complete unknown. Once again, it finally felt like we knew what to expect from United a little bit. And the biggest thing that I'm curious about with Carrick coming in is, and anytime you get a new manager, is which players are going to get a new lease on life in that squad. I would assume Kobbie Mainoo is going to be very prominently featured in that squad, not just because Carrick is familiar with the club and will probably have had a previous relationship with him, but because I think the club wants Kobbie Mainoo to feature for the club, and that is good for them. And so, is the midfield going to look different? And I think if you look at this game here specifically, that is the big question, because if you're running Casemiro and Ugarte out there together again in central midfield against Cherki and Foden and Reinders, the way that midfield is starting to tick over for City, I don't love United's chances.
Yeah, I mean, talking about City and their chances, Nick, I mean, they're 6 points behind Arsenal on the table heading into this weekend. I mean, you said it to us before, the Semenyo addition just feels a little bit unfair, really, adding him to their attack and the extra dimension he gives them. I mean, do you think that could potentially not just be a difference in this game, but clawing those 6 points back from Arsenal between now and May? Because I know that you are big on City winning this thing when all is said and done.
Yeah, I do. And the reason is you use the right phrase. I think it's a cliche sometimes, and in this case, it's not, which is an added dimension. He is a direct player, but he's also a powerful player. So like Sharky's direct too, but like Semenyo is someone who can run you over as well. He's big, he's strong. Him out there with Holland has that sort of cheat code feeling to it. So yeah, I mean, I really like their chances if they can, they may have to outgun people. And the way I've been kind of looking at it is this. To me, Semenyo is another purchase that shows that sort of Pep Jr., Pep Lenders, who they brought over from Liverpool, right? That's sort of Firmino, Mane, I'm coming for you, and you better be ready. It's a scary team. I wouldn't want to face them because I watched them against Newcastle the other day in the League Cup, and it was not particularly close.
Yeah, they seem really hungry, don't they, Andy? I mean, for this game, in terms of the prediction, what are you going with? Because I think most people won't give United much of a chance, but they have caused some shocks against City in recent seasons. Just, a derby, all those cliches, form goes out the window, etc. But it's hard to see past a Man City victory here at Old Trafford.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's a lot easier to make a game ugly and difficult for the other team to play in than it is for City to just come out and show up and dominate in a derby like this. And so I think it's just automatically going to be closer. But yeah, you look at the difference makers for City and the fact that Semenyo has hit the ground running the way that he has in the two cup games with 2 goals. Probably should have had another if we don't take 20 minutes to decide an offside call in the FA Cup game. And so, and I like Nick's point about what Semenyo brings to this team, because it's almost like a second center forward. He can play in that space between the wing and center forward, whereas every other player they've had in those positions is very much set somebody else up, a chance creator, and he's someone who's looking to score as well. And I think that we saw it a little last year when they brought Marmoush in, and they had that second player, and I know Holland was hurt for a lot of that time, but somebody else that was looking to get goals themselves, and it just made a huge difference immediately as soon as he landed in that team. And I think Semenyo is going to have a similar impact. So prediction-wise, I'm going to go 2-1 to City, only because I really need City to win it, and to win a lot between now and the end of the season. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. In terms of what I'm going to go 1-1, I think. Just because I think there's an opportunity here for City. We haven't talked about it, but their centre-backs, obviously, a lot of injuries there. They're stretched. Sesko's been really good for United. I think he's finally found a bit of form with goal scoring. And I think, Carrick will keep things pretty simple. I think that suits this United team. And if you look at his Middlesbrough teams over the last few years, which I've watched in person a few times, very good on the counter. And I think that suits this United system and the players they have well. And it's kind of like it's a very safe pair of hands. And like we said at the top of this segment, United, there isn't too much wrong with them. There are problems, but they are still, knocking on the top 6 this season and looking pretty good for that. So, again, that all being said, I think it'll be really, really tight, and I think City will dominate the ball, but just fancy United to get something in this one. So I'm going to say 1-1. Nick, what are you going with?
I was going to go 2-1. I'll go 2-0 to Man City just to be different.
All right. Head over to Pro Soccer Talk on NBCSports.com for all the latest on the Manchester derby. United against City. Carrick's in charge. Let's see if he can bring United some good luck.
Hi there, I'm Rebecca Lowe, studio host of NBC's coverage of the Premier League. Don't forget to hit subscribe to watch more videos all season long. And for even more Premier League content, from original series to live matches, head over to Peacock.